over the years, we have seen kind of the treatment of dancers, some might even say the mistreatment of dancers depicted in media. But I'm curious, working with Lizzo, was there a specific moment or incident where you felt like this was crossing the line and it's actually more of a toxic work environment?
Many instances. I can't pinpoint one. I can probably count at least 10 just right off the bat. I mean, just inviting us to sexually explicit things a lot of times without our knowledge of knowing that there was going to be nudity there. Telling us that we need to be a family and invite us to be sister-like, have a sisterhood, but then turn around and never give us the benefit of the doubt and believe the microaggressions being put forth towards her by management about us. Just having these really intense meetings about how we're not dancing good enough, and we're all kinds of allegations that we work really hard so we know are not true.
Those meetings that you're talking about, did it feel like to you like this is not like the MO of the industry? This is not an industry standard. It felt different?
Well, I personally and Crystal are very new to the industry. Noelle has been in the industry for a while, but this is me and Crystal's first job. So for a long time, in my time in the camp, I just chalked this up to, this is probably just industry standard, or like, even if it's not, it can't be that bad. The industry is crazy. I made a lot of excuses for Lizzo and the management team until enough was enough when I finally was out of it.
Right. Crystal, what was that breaking point for you?
The breaking point for me was for there to be blatant lies that were being spread about us and what we were doing or how we were conducting ourselves. And then after, communicating our sides of the story, or at least attempting to, it felt like we were, retaliated against. It felt like it was disregarded. It felt like it was ignored. It felt like it was overlooked. Just to make matters worse, for it to be with this particular artist who stands, for the things that she stands for and the messages that she preaches, you would never in a million years think that that would be something that you have to deal with and that you have to go through.
And Noelle, you you resigned.
I did.
You resigned. So what led to that decision?
Me personally, I've been dancing professionally for about 7 years now, so I have past experience. I've worked with a lot of these people that Lizzo looks up to herself, like Beyonce, Janet Jackson, and so on. So I know what is right and what is wrong in a work setting and the norms for this industry. And, at first, small things would happen, and I was like, oh, maybe it's a miscommunication between her and her management. I'm trying to always give the benefit of the doubt at the beginning.
Maybe it's a personality thing.
Yeah, maybe she just has to warm up to us. And I had even questioned former dancers that are no longer a part of the camp, like, is it usually like this? She's like, no, just give it some time. But over time, it was a slow, downward spiral of, finally getting to the point of, for me, the biggest point that was the turning point in all of this was when we asked for our retainer, which is like a holding fee. That is a standard norm, and the rest of the talent on the tour was already receiving. We were like, hey, it's a norm that dancers can ask and should receive, especially if everyone else is receiving. So that was the turning point, and I think the moment in which, tensions started rising between management, Lizzo, and the dancers.
But there's also Lizzo in this too, who's probably feeling the same way. We saw in our statement today that it's inflicting some pain on her as well. Was there ever an opportunity for you guys to rectify this in a different way that didn't involve lawyers?
I can, for one, speak for myself that even before all of this transpired, while we were actively working with her, the collective dance cast made multiple attempts to speak with not only her management team, but also her, just to make her privy of all the things that we were going through and experiencing. It never happened.
Noelle, you alleged that Lizzo aggressively confronted you for resigning. Can you kind of detail that experience?
Yeah, so basically it was our last meeting. We were under the impression that it was a fitting. We show up shortly after. We're then met by security and her management team, and they're like, this is actually not a fitting, this is a meeting with Lizzo, an ambush meeting. And then we're told to hand over our phones. They're like, we need to confiscate your phones. Security takes them, and then she therefore comes in to later on fire Ari, and then, just
in front of y'all.
In front of everyone. Her management was there, security, herself, and the rest of the dance members were also there. So within that, you know, I had planned on resigning a bit earlier. I had been in talks with my agent about, you know, I'm gonna do this professionally, give my 2 weeks, because up until then it was an accumulation of things. Just seeing how she had first handled the situation with Ari and how she let her go previously with the way that they let Crystal go, I was like, I can't stand for this anymore, and I have to say something.
Yeah.
So in coming forward and saying that, she then got physical. She basically raised up her fists. She was like balling her knuckles, and she's like, "You're so effing lucky," alluding to, "You're lucky I'm not gonna hit you." Enough to where one of the dancers, you know, finally got up and had to pull her back, because at that moment we were like, oh, she's actually going to hit me, and physically had to pull her back, while then she's yelling all these different names and things, and you know, it was scary, and it was shocking.
Ariana, what do you hope to accomplish through this lawsuit?
I just really, at this point, I don't need like an apology or even understanding. I just need change. And I need dancers and other people in the industry and just people in general that are being taken advantage of, that you have a voice.
I think you just have to know your rights. I've learned so many things about my rights as a dancer, and what is deserved, and what is the norm of being on set, and how I should be treated by these artists and teams. So I think anybody that pursues this industry just needs a lot of tough skin, and they need to understand that, you know, as much as it may seem really glamorous from the outside, sometimes it's not as glamorous as it seems, you know. So just to be realistic with yourself and kind of have those check-in moments to say, you know, am I mentally okay to take this on? Because it is a lot to take on.